Hello everyone. Now it's MotoGP Watchalong time. We've had our break, we've had our lunch, we are ready to roll again, and we have the most important race of them all, the MotoGP class, the senior class of all the motorbikes. And at the moment, the championship leader is the Yamaha of Fabio Quartararo, ahead of the Ducatis of Johan Zarco, Jack Miller, and Francesco Bagnaia. Now, I'm going to do one very quick thing, and that is I'm going to tweet that I'm live. The volume should be working perfectly fine. And hello, QWERTY. That was obviously named after he obviously named his channel after the buttons on the computer. Hello. Let me just tweet that I'm live. Hey, Cousin Sean. Cousin Sean's tuned in. Cousin Sean, hello. We're doing a MotoGP watch along. So I'm just going to finish tweeting that I'm live. Let me just...
There's a tear up going up. First of all, there we go, Espargaro.
Yep. Unfortunately, we've had to mute the audio. Apparently, there is going to be rain. That's what's been reported.
Here we go. Oh,
here we are.
Hitting the brakes to make sure they don't have the brake fade in the first corner.
I'm just going to put my phone off. Let me just...
Zarco the fastest lap at 120.236.
And bingo. Off. Phone's off. Right.
Ducati's got the launch mode. Watch your back end sitting right down on the bike. Here we go. He turns it on. Look at the back dropping on that bike. It's like a stealth bomber going to be taken off here.
And here we are.
So ready. I reckon Jack Miller and Zarco are going to hit the corner first.
And here we are.
But it's only, as you know, first to second gear, then it's hard on the brakes.
We've got poor connection at the moment. We should be able to be fine. Hopefully we are. But it's Espargaro that's leading. Absolutely amazing start from Alicia Espargaro. He's gone from third to first.
Marquez second and Zarco third. And we have Quartararo fourth, I believe. It is.
Yeah.
Quartararo fourth.
Wow, this has been a very strange start, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the
Ducati's Aprilia reading a MotoGP race. I haven't seen that for a long time. You get the tyres up to racing speed shortly, and you'll start seeing. It's only one line through all these corners. That's why they're all like a steam train.
Yeah. Prediction for the French Grand Prix, Dad? Your prediction?
Marquez might do it if he can stay
Not
on.
Marquez, I think French Grand Prix does.
Oh, sorry, I think I meant that. So we'll talk about French Grand Prix now. That's a motorbike Grand Prix or something of it.
All right. Well, I'll do mine. I think Verstappen will win ahead of Hamilton and Perez.
That depends if there's rain or not.
Of course. Here comes That's Marquez going for it on Espargaro. Unfortunately, the TV director's clueless and we didn't get another chance to see what happened there. Marquez is now in the lead. Zarco's now fighting away with Espargaro for second. Quartararo's trying to hang on to fourth place.
Tell you what, the Aprilia's got some pace though.
Miller's up into fourth.
Whoa,
no, he's not.
Quartararo
did the switcheroo on him. Marquez, he's old.
He just got past
his brother.
Yeah.
But
no, look at it.
But Marquez is leading. He's gone from fifth to first, which is really good for him. If he wins, then that could really put his confidence.
He's a master round here. 10 times he's won round here, right from 125 to Moto 2 to Moto 3.
Basically, he's
won Moto 2 to Moto 3, Moto 2 to Moto 1.
Moto 1,
Moto 1.5.
Yeah, basically, to put it simply, Marquez has won here every time he's visited it in the motorbike classes. So basically, since 2011, he has won every single race around here.
Look at the Aprilia going for it. He's going to get him he's going to get him braking.
Here comes a
He's just done a mark special. But he's going to run wide, isn't he?
And Alish back past Marquez again.
No, he's still in front. Somebody's letting off yellow. Did someone came off Marquez's bike there?
I'm not sure.
Look at the front wing he's got on that bike.
Front wing?
Aye. They've been trying to say he took off his 2018 bike. The Jack Miller getting past Quartararo.
Oh, side by side.
Oh, Jack's got the inside line. He's not. Yep, good to go.
And as I was saying, Marquez has won at least one class since 2011 around the Sachsen ring. It might even be earlier than that. If he's won 10 times, then that would be 2011.
He started off 125, so he won at 125. Then he won it in Moto 2 for 2 years. I think it was on MotoGP all the rest of the time.
Yeah. But will that streak be stopped today? Well, we'll find out. But at the moment, it's looking
Johan Mir was the fastest this morning, apparently, in warm-up.
If he had qualified better, then he probably would be a contender for the race win on that Suzuki bike. But look how bad the Yamahas are. I wouldn't sack Rossi because of this performance, because he's beating Morbidelli and Vinales.
Where's Vinales?
22nd, he's last.
What happened to him?
I have no idea, but it is beginning to look like it's going to rain. Espargaro is right on the tail of Marquez, but so is Zarco, and they're all together in this massive train, which is fighting for the lead.
Biggest problem is when the rain comes on, the person at the front's always going to be one to take the chances. Does he still stay full throttle, or does he slow down?
Well, he dictates the pace because he's a leader.
Because as a lot of the riders say, it's the rain goes on the visor. It's mind rain because the track's not wet enough.
Yeah.
But some of them slow down anyway just because
they just want to be careful.
They want to stay up. They want to stay vertical.
Yeah.
And not end up in the Kayota.
I mean, you can tell the track conditions aren't ideal because Marquez is just under a second slower than his lap record from 2019, and these bikes are just as fast. Jeez, this kid looks just like his dad. Thank you. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I don't know.
But yeah, Espargaro is right on the tail of Marquez. He can't get past at the moment. But look at him.
Looking threatening. Look at this. Look, he's going to get him the brakes. He's going to get him the brakes.
Espargaro down the inside.
Mark's late in the brakes.
Marquez doing.
Is he going to run wide though? No. Is it going to hinder his exit out? There's a main straight.
A little bit. He did get a little bit of a wobbly exit.
There's a KTM just past Quartararo.
Oliveira on Quartararo now. Binder's looking at him. I mean, Quartararo is basically being hung out to dry constantly.
Oh, you come on, Mark.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to say it since I'm. Yeah. Fair enough, Sean. Yeah, just say "geez," not that word.
Oh yeah,
Oh, and that's Petrucci and Marquez. Alex Marquez, not Mark Marquez, and they're both out. That was a big incident. Both of their bikes were on top of each other. How did this happen?
Oh, like that. That's how it happened. Marquez went underneath him.
Oh, that could have been much worse. That could have ended so much worse, but
thankfully none of them were injured.
Yeah, Sean says what he says is G's, not GESUS. CHRIST.
See that?
He says G's instead of.
Yeah, you said it.
Okay. Anyway, Marquez still leading, but the racing isn't going to stop anyway. That's a good way to put it. There's 20 riders left in this race.
Fifth.
Yeah, he's right on the tail.
Where's Rossi now? Rossi's at the 15th.
He's in the points, but that's because of the incident.
Stuart, I can't rescue the Marquez will get his backside kick for that one, I think.
He'll get a penalty. Rossi's just got passed by Nyaya. You know what? That's off to Rossi.
And that's the two KTMs sandwiching the Yamaha.
Exactly. And that's the sort of thing that KTM want. They want both of their factory riders, Binder and Oliveira, to put Quartararo in an uncomfy spot so he makes mistakes so Binder can get past.
I tell you what, Espargaro's holding his own so far.
Exactly. This is why he's one of the most underrated riders on the grid, in my opinion.
I think the wrong brother went to Honda.
Yeah. Paul, where's Paul right now? He's running in 11th. But to be fair, that bike is specifically made for Marquez. So
it's not a very nice bike to drive.
In my opinion, Honda should only run with one rider, because then, they could run with two riders, but they need to make a completely different bike for the other one, because otherwise the other one's going to incredibly struggle, because it's
or just get another rider like Marc Marquez,
which is pretty much impossible because Marquez is one of a kind.
Who's that?
And Salvadore's
dropped it. Oh, they're Aprilia.
That's the other.
I tell you what, that's a fast corner. He's dropped it.
Oh, and you can see how damaged the leathers are. The overalls are. The leather overalls. Is that right?
Leathers. Just leathers will do. Overalls, something you in the workshop. Oh, I thought Oliveira was going to tag the back of Quartararo there. And
no,
there's Rins.
no, it's Spinder, by the way, because Oliver's already overtaken Quartararo, so it's Spinder. So yeah, I mean that's probably one of the trickiest corners in MotoGP, because you need to focus on both corners. You need to be.
Yes, the two Suzuki's coming up. That's that right. 11th, 8th, 9th, 8th, and 10th. Yeah.
Prediction: Rins is going to fall off in 2 laps' time in the next few laps.
Nah, he's gonna wait till his tyres are a bit off first.
And then he'll bin it.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, he just lost it on his own. I mean, he's only there because he's a fill-in. I mean, there's not really anyone else that can. Oh, and here comes Miller on, and he's right on the tail of Zarco, his Ducati buddy. They're not actually teammates, because there's 2 different Ducati teams, Pramac and the factory team, and Zarco drives for Pramac and Miller for factory. But they all have the same bikes, all the Ducati teams. So, yeah, they're basically Honda, Aprilia, Yamaha, Suzuki, and KTM make their own bikes. The rest of the teams buy them and use them.
There he goes.
But there's.
Is he going to hold it?
Oh no!
Oh, he has.
Miller
Pulled it back tight.
Miller doing a good job there, and he.
Right, Miller, come on, get that Audi, Ducati going.
Yeah, because Audi and Ducati, for those of you who don't already know, because Ducati are part of the Volkswagen company, it's really complicated, because Volkswagen, they're run by Porsche, but Volkswagen run Porsche. It's strange. Anyway, this is about motorbikes, not about cars. The cars are later on, more specifically in around 50 minutes time, which would be, well, this race would have finished by then. It's a 30-lap race.
Why are 2 Yamahas at there? Well, right, let's see what happened to Vinales. There's Vinales there.
And what has happened to Vinales? Let's see. Into turn 1.
Did he maybe get held?
He just gets passed by everyone.
There's Rossi past him there.
Yeah. It's dry. Is it dry, my man? Oh, so that means apparently the race is going to be dry in Paul Ricard. Okay, that's good to know. That's really good to know. Sad news, yeah, it's sad news. We're going to get a typical French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard. Our only hope of a good race has just disappeared. So that means, yeah, that it's going to be a bad one. But
that was close, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tell you what, Matt Marquez wasn't to any business there, was he?
Yeah, and
he was just going for it.
Espargaro is sort of keeping up with Marquez.
I think he's holding the guys up. I think if Jack Miller can get past Espargaro, I think we could be in for a good bit of race here.
Yeah.
I see Rossi in the background now, 14th.
Yeah, he's doing decent considering where his teammates are. I mean, he's the second highest Yamaha rider, which is, I mean, that's something to go home about.
Didn't finish yet. What says? White flag riders not allowed to. I know. Oh.
Yeah,
there's rain coming.
Yeah, I think the Lord has decided to move the rain in the direction of Germany instead of France.
Come on, Jack, get past him. Come on, you can do it. On the brakes, come on.
And so it's going to be a wet race, basically.
Flag to flag race, it's called.
Yeah, well, it's a dry to wet race is what I call it. But Jorge Martin's up into 10th. He's doing a good job. It's his second race, is it?
Yeah, Marquez started to pull the pin, Jack. Come on, you have to get past Spargaro.
Exactly.
There's the white flag going.
Now, how many people are going to come in is the question.
Nobody yet, because you can't see it on the screen.
Martina and Espargaro.
Until it absolutely lashes down, they won't come in.
Unless
it's still sitting at 28 degrees. It'll dry the rain. There you go. Come on. Look, there's rain on the screen now.
Yeah, it's the rain's starting to get bigger in Germany and less in France, and that's Espargaro being passed left, right, and centre now. He's been passed by both Oliveira and Miller now, and this is when the Aprilia just becomes the Aprilia and just drops down.
They're starting to see. Whoa, that was close. They're starting to see this mind drain on their risers.
Exactly, and this is when the best riders distinguish themselves.
No further action now.
And they spelled Marquez wrong, Marcuse. Still, they would have had to type it quite quickly. So fair enough. Because that's the thing, they want to get the news across as soon as possible. I mean, you might as well do it now instead of doing it later.
There's a white flag going.
Yeah, there's a white flag. Yeah, in America, the white flag means it's the last lap, but in motorbike racing, it means you can change tires. So, Yeah, this is Oliveira and Miller, and here comes Oliveira down the inside. He's having a look, but no, he's not got enough in the.
Oh, I can see there's that action coming very shortly if more rain comes.
Cough, cough, rins. Cough, cough, rins.
Now they're saying there's adhesion on the circuit.
Oh,
because they've got the red and white flag now.
And now Quartararo's got back past Zarco again. So now, the Frenchmen are battling away here. And Quartararo still ahead of Zarco. And then there's Binder, the South African, on the KTM.
That is the question, Liam. Who is going to bin it first?
Exactly. And I think it's going to be Rins, because he's the most reckless rider out of everyone. He's had a lot of DNFs this year because of his own mistakes. However, I do think this is going to be a very interesting race with how Miller, Oliveira, and Marquez do with their pace in the wet.
The skies have got quite high cloud base, so I don't know if it's just going to be a passing shower.
It does look a bit dark.
Oh, they're bringing the bikes out.
And there's Julian. Is that Julian Marquez?
It's Dad Marquez.
Mark.
He's pulling the pin now. Come on, Jackie boy.
And Jack Miller has got Oliveira behind him, so it's going to be very difficult for him to try and catch up to Marquez. Plus, it's Marc Marquez. He's a master of the Sachsen ring. It's like Lewis Hamilton.
Until it lashes it in.
It's like Lewis Hamilton at the Hungaro ring, or Michael Schumacher.
He's going out wide. And he's forced Miller out wide as well.
There's Oliveira past Miller for second now. More and more flags.
That's the wet part of the circuit there.
Yeah, this is the wet part of the track. This is one of the short tracks on the calendar, so there's probably more chance of raining everywhere than it is raining in one place and not raining in another, because the track is one of the shortest on the calendar. It's not the shortest. I believe Austria is the shortest. This is the second shortest, but it is the quickest lap on the calendar to complete. Because of its fast corners, there's really only a couple of braking zones. The rest of it's mainly flat out or a lift off.
Rins has been passed by Espargaro.
Has he? Oh yeah, he has. I was like, wait a minute, Rins isn't that hard. Rins isn't that high up. But then I realised you're talking about Paul, not Leish. But Leish is running a good race. He's keeping pace with the likes of Quartararo and Zarco, but not with Miller and Oliveira. This is when, as I said earlier, the good riders distinguish themselves from.
Tell you what, Oliveira's put the foot down.
The decent riders. Oliveira's matching Marquez's pace, but it's really difficult because, as I said, Marquez has won in every single class around here, in every single race he's been, and he has won in any class. Every single race that he's done here, in a certain class, he's won. That's how good he is around here. He's got a 100% record, and I think all the riders in the field will be wanting to break that 100% record.
Bagnaier's not doing well, is he? 13th.
Oliveira sits fastest lap.
Factor Ducati needs to get his finger out.
122 flat there from Oliveira.
Oh.
And there's the virtual fan wall. There's just the number 46. I mean, yeah, everyone is a Rossi fan. If you don't say that you are a Rossi fan, then you are definitely a Rossi fan. But yeah, Oliveira's a tiny bit quicker than Marquez on the last lap. I think he closed up about 2/10. He's lost that time again, but he might crawl it back again as Espargaro's been given a mapping. Now that could mean engine modes or pit strategy. It could be one of those two, but it does look like it is a passing shower because it does still look very sunny there. There's a bit of clouds, but you can still see the skies, and it's still quite pretty.
Mapping's the electronics.
So yeah, it'll be engine modes and that sort of thing.
Whether it's more fuel, less fuel, traction control.
I was going to say that, yeah, traction control. I'm just thinking, is there anything else? Basically, rider assists and engine modes, basically, is what the electronics are used for.
Bagnaier's climbing up to 12th now. He should be in the top 10.
He's making more progress. Oliveira matched Marquez's lap there. He gained, I think, a tiny bit. About 0.5, maybe less.
Oh, there's a point. Have a look at Paul Espargaro's right leg to see if he's got tinfoil on it. Because during the practice yesterday, the exhaust was getting that hot that it was burning his boot.
Oh, well, that could become an issue again because it's still quite warm there. And keep in mind, this is a 30-lap race. We're almost halfway through it. At the moment, Marquez is still leading, but this is going to be when strategy comes into play. The rain will pass. I think it already has. So it's going to be, by the look of things, a fully dry race. However, was an option to be a dry to wet to dry race. There's Pitt Beerer, the motorsport director of KTM.
Is he drinking that Red Bull, or do you think he's just holding it there just to get a bit to show a bit?
He probably likes Red Bull because he legally has to drink it.
His age?
He looks really young. He looks about 40. Is he older than that? He looks as young as you, Dad.
It's not. Thanks, Liam. He's not getting them. He's still in the same 1.8.
Yeah, he lost overall in the first two sectors. It was two and a bit more tenths. And Oliveira has lost. He has lost just over a tenth of a second to Marquez on that last lap. Quick maths. But yeah, Marquez, he's doing what he used to do, and that is dominate the races and lead by quite some margin. He always found a way to win around this track, even if it was you could say, an inferior bike, or if it was against riders like Prime Lorenzo or Prime Rossi or Prime Dovizioso, or even, you could say in a way, nowadays, Prime Quartararo. No, this isn't Prime Quartararo. He's still got loads to come. And Oliveira is still about 2 seconds back from Marquez. The race has really not been that interesting so far. But it should be a dry race by the look of things. Marquez cruising. He's dictating the pace, and everyone else is following that pace. It's like when you're under a safety car and you need to match the delta, otherwise you'll get a penalty. Yeah, instead of it being a penalty, it's the fact that you might fall off, because Marquez is pushing the limits here. He's trying his very hardest. Oliveira did match his pace and was a little bit quicker. They're trading fastest laps. In terms of fastest laps, I mean who's quicker on each lap, not actually fastest lap.
Vinales has finally got past Morbidelli.
Finally. The last two are Yamahas. I mean, this is Rossi's got past the corner. There he is. I think you very briefly saw him there.
Suzuki's only making very good inroads, have they?
Yeah, I think the only quick bikes here are the KTMs and the Ducati, and a couple of the Ducatis and the Hondas, and one of the two of the Hondas. Because that's the thing. Espargaro, considering the fact that bike is only made for Marquez, he's doing a decent job. He's basically meant to be the number two. He's basically meant to do the job that Lorenzo couldn't do in 2019. Let me just... What's happening here?
There's Rossi there.
Just having a look. It's gone a bit dark. It'll be on battery saving mode now.
Yeah, battery saving mode.
40 minutes left of it, so it should last until at least F1, and then we might have to go upstairs and watch the race. Hopefully there'll be a charger in the house. There might not be, but Bastianini's just got back past Vinales again. There he is, the doctor fighting for his future, of course, in MotoGP. He looks as though he could be replaced mid-season following disappointing results in what was expected to be
Why is Vinales at the back? Second last?
He's just got no performance.
Morbidelli's last.
They cannot sack Rossi, because he's in this race. He is beating Morbidelli and Vinales.
Wait a minute, is that another Yamaha there?
No, it was the Avintia bikes. It was the Sponsorama.
Oh, was it Avintia bike? I just saw the blue leathers.
It was a Sponsorama. It was Bastianini and Marini.
Ah, that's what it is, aye.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting though where Alicia Spargaro goes, because Grissini are no longer going to be running Aprilias. They're going to be running Ducatis, which means where's Alicia going to go? Because isn't Aprilia Team Grissini, or
I can't remember.
I think it is. But I think that means that Aprilia will be producing bikes on their own. They won't have any technical assistance from Team Grissini, who are going to have Enea Bastianini and Fabio De Gianantonio in their seat. Sponsorama, if I recall, is actually leaving MotoGP, which means Marini is set to be without a ride. However, I believe he'll join his brother's startup team. And that's why Rossini are becoming Ducati partners, because the Sponsorama are leaving. So there does need to be another Ducati. I believe Aprilia will be a full factory team next year. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning about. Oh, that's Quartararo and Espargaro having a bit of a battle for fourth. Seems as though Quartararo has won that, but Marquez is leading by 2 seconds now, and this is, well, it's a typical Marquez performance, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Back to his old self.
Exactly. After the crash last season, he really struggled, but then he returned to form, and he's doing really good at the moment. But I mean, but saying that, Oliveira's closed up 4/10 in that last sector there. I was talking about how it's 2 seconds. Now it's only 1.5 seconds. But that's KTM going for a move there. I think that was Binder on Zarco,
yeah.
And he did get past. Quartararo behind Miller.
The Ducati's got the punch in the straight through. Look. Oh,
Yeah.
he's got him in the. Oh, he's got.
Oh, Binder just gets past Zarco there.
Like sliding, he's holding Zarco up around that.
And that's the thing. This is the part of the season where, the teams that are the teams that start struggling are the ones that are doing well, like Ducati and Yamaha, and then when Honda and KTM and even Aprilia, you could see start pulling off good results, and then Suzuki just keep struggling because they've. I mean, to think that last year they were champions, and Rins finished fourth in the championship, Mir won it, and now neither of them are even in the top 6 of the championship, maybe even lower than that, is really strange. It was like Ferrari in 2019, and then in 2020, they went from finishing top 5 in the championship with both drivers to finishing outside of the top 5 with both drivers. There's Miller going for that's Quartararo going for it on Miller. I thought it said it was Miller's camera, so I thought Miller had somehow caught up to Oliveira. I was like,
Quartararo is now in a podium position,
and he's in clean air. But with that, Miller is a bit further behind Zarco now than he would want to be. At the moment, top 4 remains the same. It's Ducati dominated, but it's actually a Yamaha leading the championship. What I mean by that is there's one Yamaha in the top 4, and that's Quartararo, who's leading by 21 points as things stand, and then the other 3 are all Ducatis, in Miller, who's 4th, Zarco, who's 7th, and Bagnaia, who's 10th. I just realised something. Miller's 2nd in the championship. He's running in 4th. Zarco's 3rd in the championship. He's running 7th. And Bagnaia is 10th in the race, and he's running 4th in the championship. They're all 3 places apart from each other. 4th, 7th, and 10th.
1.4 it is now.
Marquez is not. He's not pulling away from Oliveira. Oliveira is beginning to
reel him in.
Yeah, he's reeling him in. He's pushing a bit harder on his bike. He's relying on his bike to be quicker. We've got 11 laps to go, and this race is going to get even more interesting by each lap. More overtakes are going to happen. More drivers are going to try risky moves so they can try and gain championship points on the others. And of course, there's going to be some incidents, I can imagine, based off of, the fact that people are going to try their very best to overtake others, and that can end up really bad or really good. But there's Miller and Quartararo still fighting for 3rd. Meanwhile, up ahead at the end of the straights, Marquez and Oliveira. 1.2 seconds it is between Marquez and Oliveira.
I wonder if Mark's suffering a wee bit of pain, or is he just holding out a little bit, and in the last 5 laps he's going to pull the pin?
He's a bit like
1.4. It's up to Mark's obviously pull the pin now.
Yeah, he's a bit like, if that's true, then it's a bit like going on Correa, because at the start of the races, Correa is really fast, but then the pain starts to kick in and the tiredness, because he hasn't raced in race trim for so long. And with Marquez, he has done quite a few races this year, of course. I think he's done all but one race this year.
Yeah, it was the first one, wasn't it?
And first 2, I think it was, because he went to Qatar to get tested even though he wasn't racing, remember? And all that farce. That was very stupid. They really should not have done that. because they're risking others. But Quartararo is running at 200 kilometers an hour. I can imagine Miller's running at a bit quicker than that because of that fast Ducati engine. Look at the Aprilia and look at the KTM though behind them. They're all looking really racy with each other. But at the moment, Marquez and Oliveira are matching each other's pace. It's almost 4 seconds between Oliveira and Quartararo, who are second and third. It's like Formula 1 and then Formula 1.5. Oliveira and Marquez have just ran away from the field. I bet like Gardner did in Moto2. I mean, in Moto3, it was the only one where we had an actual fight for the win, because in Moto2, Gardner walked his way to victory, and at the moment, Marquez is managing the gap to Oliveira pretty well, which is what you need to become a champion. You need to manage gaps well. When you're leading races, you can't make mistakes, which is why, in my opinion, Pecco Bagnaia won't be a champion in his career in the top class, because he makes too many mistakes. He's been in the league several times before, and he's bottled it. He's made mistakes, but he's in front of Jorge Martin at the moment, who's the fourth Ducati, and he's Zarco's teammate. So, yeah, that's interesting that all the Ducatis are in the top 10. Meanwhile, there's only one Suzuki in the top 10, one Aprilia, because there's only one left in the race, 2 KTMs, there's only 3 left in the race, 1 Yamaha, and 1 Honda, which is, as I said, it's interesting because it shows the pace of the bikes and how good each rider is. I think Yamaha are doing, the factory Yamaha team, they're doing a bit of a Lotus, and they're focusing on one rider and not the other, to try and win the title. And
We're at 1.1 now.
yeah, he's almost within a second of him. Obviously, in F1, that's a magic gap.
He's almost in DRS.
As Binder goes past Espargaro for 5th, but Espargaro does the under and over, and Binder's going to try and find a way back past, but for now he's not going to be able to get through. He's really hoping that Binder can get past Espargaro, and he's hoping that Oliveira can get the win. That would be KTM's 5th win. 5th win in the last 2 years, because they got 3 wins last year, didn't they? 1 with Binder and 2 with...
Yeah, they won Austria, didn't they?
They won Czech Republic, Austria, and Portugal, and then they've won this year with Oliveira in, was it Spain? Yeah. So that would be, if Oliveira managed to win here today, which is a bit, it's looking ever more unlikely, but if they were to win here today, it would be their 5th win in top class of motorbikes, of course. And this is when Marquez needs to make sure he does not make any mistakes, full concentration. And Dad, what's it like being a motorbike rider when you know you've got someone behind you who's quicker than you and that's got as much pace as you anyway? And how do you manage to mitigate that?
They manage it. These guys manage it. They've no stress.
Well, imagine if they were. Well, that's the thing. The racing can be very stressful, but Marquez is probably getting messages on his dashboard saying, "Look, Oliveira's lap times are very similar to yours."
He's managing it. He's still staying at 1.1, 1.2.
And that's exactly what I was going to say.
As long as Mark keeps doing 8s, he's doing 8s in the last 4 laps. It's fine because Oliveira's not matching that. Exactly.
He's matching. Oliveira's a little bit slower than Marquez, with Marquez's decent pace. Now, what's happened here? And he's
very wide there.
That's far too wide. Far too wide.
Missed his braking point.
Indeed. Just like everyone in an online lobby on F1 2020 at Monza. Basically, a bunch of lunatics in a lobby with you. They wipe you out at turn 1.
Down to a second now.
Well, just a tiny bit over a second. 1 second and a half tenth. Oliveira's really closed up. He's gained 1/10 in this lap. That might not seem like a lot, but really, it is. Oh, and what is 1 second almost exactly as
soon as you blow that magic second, you seem to get closer and closer to him.
Yeah, I was about to say Oliveira's
quicker.
I was about to say Oliveira must have closed about a 1/10 and a half on that lap, since he was
4.5 seconds between Oliveira and Quartararo.
Because in the first 2 sectors, Marquez was almost. Let me just think about this. almost 2 tenths quicker. But
Bagnaia
then
up to 8th. Bagnaia just passed Mir.
did he? That's an indication that Bagnaia's got better race pace at the end as the race goes on. I think he's been saving his tyres for this. Either that or he's being very careful on his bike, making sure he doesn't damage it or anything like that. I mean, it's really easy to do. Just one small bit of contact with a rider and you could have something hanging off the bike and you could be out of the race. I mean, remember what happened in, was it Le Mans with the, was it Rins or was it Mir that had something stuck to, they had someone was off the bike.
He had the Marshall's doggy tags.
Yeah.
It was sticking, I think it was on his camera on the back of the tail unit.
Yeah. And there's Mark Marquez's race engineer. I think Santi is short for Santino. I'm going to call him Santi anyway, since that's probably what he goes by. Santi Hernandez.
That's the closest been yet, 0.99.
And it's 9 tenths. The gap is getting smaller. Just under a tenth quicker was what Oliveira was on the last lap. We've got 5 laps to go.
Bagnaia's just passed. Oh, he's just passed Zarco.
And now he's on the tail of this, the end of this train in a way. He's
got the Aprilia ahead of him.
And then the KTM, and then his teammate and Quartararo. And I reckon he could get at least half of them based off of his pace in the last couple of laps and how slow everyone else is going because of their fighting. I think he will definitely have a chance of getting a podium here. And there's 5 laps to go. If he makes one overtake in each lap, he will be on the podium by the end of the race. And it's likely that he does that because he's very, very quick, Bagnaia, at the moment. He's one of the quickest riders out on the track, along with obviously the leading 2 of Marquez and Oliveira. As Quartararo has just lost another tenth to Oliveira. It's 4.8 now between Oliveira and Quartararo. But Quartararo would still crucially lead the championship by over 20 points from Zarco, who's running in 8th place, 5 places behind.
If Bagnaia can finish ahead of Miller, Bagnaia could leapfrog Miller in the championship.
Yeah, if Bagnaia can get past Espargaro, that's definitely going to happen, Dad, because if Bagnaia gets past Espargaro, that would be another 2 points. And then if he got past Binder, that'd be another 3. That'd be 5 points. Even if he didn't finish ahead of Miller, he'd still... In fact, no, he would have to beat Miller. Because if he didn't overtake Miller, but he overtook Binder and Espargaro, he'd be 2 points behind. Since he'd be gaining 5 points and he'd be 7 behind last time I checked. So yeah, he would need to pass Miller. And then, I mean, Quartararo, he just needs to think of his championship ambitions and not winning every race. Because if you go into a race with a philosophy to win it, there is a chance you will fall off because you'll go too aggressive on the tires, or you'll high side, or you'll be too late on the what do you call it again? The brake. What do they call the braking again?
Missed his braking point.
No, it's not that. It's
arm pump.
No, it's not the arm pump. It's like the what's the word again? One of the Moto2 riders did it. He was it trail brake.
Oh, trail braking.
Yeah, he might trail brake a bit too much and he might fall off. I mean, there's loads of different scenarios that could happen, but Quartararo is just thinking, I just need to finish 3rd. I just need to finish this race in the points, and I should keep my lead.
Binder's just past Miller.
And that's also crucial because Bagnaia is getting even closer now to him in the championship. Because with that, Bagnaia should only be 4 points behind. And look at that,
Bagnaia's right behind him.
Yeah, he can. Miller can see his teammate in his. He'll be seeing his teammate in his mirrors, and he'll also be seeing.
If he had them.
Does he not have them?
No, but he's not mirrors.
Oh, I thought they did.
No.
Is it? Oh, and that's wide there from Binder. Wait a minute, then what do they have on the left and the right?
No.
Huh? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of road motorbikes to have mirrors.
Yeah.
My mistake. But yeah, I think Miller will be getting told by the team via the dashboard that
here he comes.
The Bagnaia is right in the tail of
Here's
Espargaro. And here comes Pecco. He has arrived. Number 63, not the only number 63, of course, George Russell, number 63. We've got 22 minutes until Formula 1 starts, so I think we might catch a break in that time. We'll only be for about 10 minutes.
Come on, Pecco, you're one behind your teammate.
As Espargaro's just got past Rins. And
Here he
as
goes.
when Espargaro makes a move, another loses a place. No.
Spargo's good in the brakes.
Pecco trying to get past Alicia Spargo.
Yeah,
Pecco
I think
Bagnaia.
the race is Mark Marquez is 1.5 seconds. He's got the overall.
Don't say that. There's still 2 laps to go. We're heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. You never know. Marquez could make a surprising mistake, but it would be unlikely. Quartararo should have 3rd place as long as he doesn't make a mistake. And same with Oliveira in 2nd and Binder in 4th. Espargaro is trying to threaten Miller here, and he's losing time to Bagnaia as a result. And Espargaro is messing with the Ducatis. The Ducatis team, the teammate fight between the Ducatis, and he's trying his very best to get that Aprilia across the line in 6th place, which is basically where it finishes. It almost feels like every single race where that Aprilia finishes 6th. Here's Binder going past Miller earlier, and it's a good move from the South African to get past the Aussie. Both countries, obviously, very beautiful countries, South Africa and Australia. But yeah, that's geography. That's your geography class over now, kids, and anyone else that's watching. But yeah, Bagnaia's got past Spargo now, and now he's going to be setting his eyes on his teammate, Jack Miller. As here comes Marquez, the white flag. Well, if it was American, if it was IndyCar, the white flag would be out. As we're heading on to the final lap now of the German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring, and Marquez could take his first win in over a year and a half at least, since I think it was Motegi 2019 was his last ever win, and he could take it today. However, here comes Bagnaia right on the tail of his teammate Jack Miller. This is the only fight that really matters on the track at the moment, since nothing else is really happening. Oliveira is losing a lot of time. His dad, Julian, is hoping that he can win the race. He's got his fingers crossed. One of his sons may have crashed out at the start, but his more talented son, one of the greatest motor riders considered anyway, to be on the level of the likes of Agostini, Rossi, and of course Halewood, and you can even say John Surtees. And Marc Marquez has put on a fantastic performance today, and he's shown that even if he has a horrific crash, which ends up curtailing his entire season, curtailing, I think is how you say it. Is it curtailing? Yeah. His entire season, he can come back. And here he comes heading through the final sector. Oh dear, battery's beginning to get low on the PC. I don't know how we're going to be able to save the battery on it, but yeah. Here comes Marc Marquez. He's heading towards the final corner now. The uphill stretch into the last turn, where of course
Bagnaia's ahead of Miller.
Cooney had a crash earlier. Bagnaia got past Miller, but that's not what matters. Marc Marquez, for the first time since Motegi, wins in MotoGP. Miguel Oliveira 2nd. Fabio Quartararo 3rd. Brad Binder 4th. Pecco Bagnaia overtakes his teammate in the championship in 5th. 6th is Jack Miller. 7th is Alicia Spargaro. And 8th is Johan Zarco. With 9th, Johan Mir. And
that's embarrassing. Look, Vignales finished behind.
And that is an absolutely dreadful race for Yamaha. Despite the podium from Quartararo, they will be taking, they'll be taking a podium anyway, because that bike is not good enough for a podium around here.
They didn't actually think Honda was going to win a race this year.
Little did they know.
The fireworks are going to go off.
Marquez is back. He's a message to all his haters anyway, and all the people who doubted he would ever be the same after his crash. And look at that. You can tell he's thankful. You do a really good job talking about the race. Thank you, Architecture. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a very
good. He's going to set fireworks off the remote control.
Here's Marquez. He's going to set off the fireworks. He's plugging it in, and he's going to hit the button.
There he goes.
And here he goes. And the fireworks will go off any second now. And Marquez, for the first time in a year and a half, wins a MotoGP race. If you told me 2 years ago that Marc Marquez would not win a race for over a year and a half, I would actually laugh at you.
Nobody'd believe it.
No one would believe it. A year and a half of a wait for Honda, and a year and a half of a wait for Marc Marquez. And finally, Honda get another win. Marquez gets another win. And KTM and Yamaha don't live to fight another day, yet Honda do. Marquez wins, and you can tell he's very happy about it. He's probably still in a lot of pain from that crash, but he's gotten through it, and that is the amount of talent that this man has. Nothing can stop him. Absolutely nothing. He could be in fact, no, it was Valencia. It wasn't Motegi. My apologies. It was Valencia, not Motegi. Yeah, his first win since Valencia in 2019. And Marquez.
Here's his brother.
And that's his brother who fell off earlier. And it's his 8th win in a row at the Sachsenring in the Premier class. And he keeps his 100% record around here for winning in every single race he's competed in around this track. And he is the master, well and truly, of the Sachsenring. And, of course, is now a winner this year. The 5th winner in 8 races in this MotoGP class.
11 times. He's got 11 times written on his in front of his screen.
11 wins.
Times in that must be a record.
It probably is. No, king of the ring indeed. Marc Marquez, king of the Sachsenring. Fabio Quartararo must be extremely happy with a podium for Yamaha, because that bike should not be anywhere near it.
22 points in Zarco. So, but a guy didn't leapfrog him. He's 1 point in it.
1 point between Bagnaia and Miller, but Quartararo leading by 22 points from Zarco, and then it's Miller a further 9 points back from him, and then Bagnaia a point back from Miller.
You're getting old, Zarco.
As Miller just hit the 100 points mark, and Bagnaia should be able to do that next race as long as he doesn't bin it, which could be quite likely. What's the next race again? Do you want me to check? Or I'm not completely sure on what the next race is.
Oh, he's looking at his tyres, if his back tyre giving up on him.
Yeah, and Jack Miller will be disappointed with that, because this was his opportunity to gain ground on both Quartararo and on Zarco, and he hasn't gained anything. He's lost, if anything. He's gained to Zarco, but he has lost a lot of ground.
Put stand on first before you jump off it.
And Marquez absolutely delighted. He must be so
a lot of emotions flying through that Honda right now.
Exactly. Especially after the last year and a half for the team. They failed to get a win last year. They came closest with leading several times last year, including most notably the opening lap in Valencia last year.
There's his dad.
And his dad, the one who obviously who gave him who passed along the passion of motor racing to not only him but to his younger brother Alex, and both of them are now Premier class riders. Both of them are they both champions in junior classes? I think, did Alex Marquez win Moto2? I think he did. Did he? I'm not sure.
I don't think he did, because I think Bagnaia picked him to the line.
And look at that. That's the record. Marquez becomes only the second ever rider to take 8 consecutive wins at the same track in the Premier class. And number 1 is Giacomo. How did I not say that? Giacomo Agostini, or as his nickname is, Ago, who won it in Matra, obviously a former Finnish circuit, 9 times. Of course, the Matra circuit is probably most famous in Scotland, because we lost one of our greatest ever sidecar racers there, in Jock Taylor,
who
lost his life in 1982 there. But following that, I think it's time we switch. Should we switch our coverage over to the Formula One, or? I mean, we could watch the podium celebrations. There's still another 10 minutes, but I can tell you for a fact now that this battery is only going to last another 20 minutes. So if
it doesn't last out, and hits 10 minutes, it drops like a brick.
So basically, in a nutshell, we're probably going to have to continue to stream upstairs. I'm not sure if you can actually do that, but hopefully we can. But a very entertaining Premier class race. Not as good as Moto3, but better than Moto2 in my opinion. Moto3 always finds a way to outshine MotoGP.
Definitely the most competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a little.
Oh, Jack Miller's feeling a bit distraught.
Disappointed. He's still third in the championship. He's hit the 100-point mark. He's the third rider to get
but his teammate to pass him.
And this is when Bagnaia passed him. And look at that from Bagnaia.
Look at the speed Bagnaia was carrying there.
Exactly.
Watch this series.
He was 100% saving his tyres to the end, and it worked out for him in the end. He finished in 5th place behind Binder, and then obviously Quartararo. And there's Alicia Spargo talking to Quartararo about the race. Espargaro is probably going to be a bit disappointed with that result, but probably getting more points with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's basically a one-rider team.
Coming on, Aprilia.
Yeah,
hopefully one day they'll win a race.
They're going from strength to strength. It might never. They might be like KTM in a few years. The chance might come. People did say that KTM might never ever win a race in the top class. They were wrong, and the same thing could happen with Aprilia. I can't wait for people just to clip this, and in like 3 years' time, when Aprilia win a race, people will be like, "Oh, this guy predicted it 3 years ago after the German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring." Oh, how old will I be in 3 years' time? 16. Jeez. There's Fabio Quartararo who
Right,
finished.
you turn that off. I want to hear this.
I'm gonna have to mute the volume. I'm gonna have to mute the. So what Fabio Quartararo said was that he was very happy with the podium due to the fact that this is not a Yamaha track. He didn't know the positions of the other Yamahas, but he was struggling throughout the weekend, losing several tenths through certain corners of the track, including turn 7. And he'll be very delighted with that podium, as the team were really struggling throughout the weekend, and he'll be happy with that. So then we have the next one, which should be Oliveira, who'll be there and doing his in a minute. And Oliveira will also be happy with the podium. He'll be thinking that he could have won, but to be honest, Marquez in a league of his own as always. So yeah,